Hey, what's going on? Keith here from Sports Vibes TV, and we're back on with our Knicks Sunday stream. Foxy, how's everything with you, bro? Facts, facts. Also, guys in chat, SV Nation, we're trying something a little bit new. So if there's any issues with the stream, please let us know. That way we can try to handle it and make sure it doesn't become a consistent issue. So, Foxy, we're dealing with a depleted team, man. Dealing with a depleted team. And we went up against the Celtics. We did not win. It was 114-107. But headed into that game, I knew it was going to be something where we were going to have difficulties pulling off the win. Because if you look at that team, the Celtics, they've got Brown, they've got Tatum. They were going to have the two best players on the court. And, we did get some solid efforts from Evan Fournier. We also got a extreme surprise from Kemba Walker being able to go out there and he had 29 points, went 8 of 12 from the field, 5 of 11 from the 3-point line, 8 of 10 from the charity stripe. And it was a little bit what we thought we were going to see coming into this season. We knew that Fournier and Kemba had some chemistry over there with the Celtics, and we were able to see them feed off each other. So, Foxy, let me know some of your thoughts about the game yesterday and how you felt about how we were able to perform even though we were shorthanded.
Happy for them. The only thing that would have made it better, obviously, was a win. Julius was Julius, and even though he had 29 and 7, it was 20 points on 19 field goal attempts. He was incredibly inefficient, incredibly aggravating, and whether yelling at the refs, and you see him jogging up on the defensive side, and his dribble pass or handoff to Fournier and others. He's just in a weird place, man. I don't know. He's, as you properly coined, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You just don't know who you're going to get. And but it was a winnable game, and not too many times you're going to get Tatum shooting, 23% from three and 37% field goal, and the same thing on Jaylen Brown, only 38% from the field, and he shot 38% from three, but 5 for 13. But we didn't really take advantage of that. So it was a game that I wish, we had a couple other guys back or playing, but it was a gallant effort.
Foxy, it looks like we were having some audio issues. So they're saying they want you to restart.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you in a couple minutes.
I apologize.
I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
No. Not you restart completely. I'm saying restart your tape.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the volume
I thought the video, I was just saying that, I was very, very happy for the performance of Kemba and Fournier. Kemba, it looked like all that time off gave him some fresh legs. So he played at a level that on offense, he had some burst, and he was grooving. And the same thing on Fournier. Both of them played well. Kemba, besides the 29 points, he pulled down 6 rebounds, had 3 assists. Fournier had 32 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. So they played very, very well. And I was mentioning that even though that Randall had 20 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, it was highly inefficient because he took 19 shots. And you see that Burks had 19 points, but he did it on 9 shots. So, typical, as I was saying, Randall, there was times he was just jogging up on the defensive end. He wasn't boxing out. His passes weren't crisp or accurate. Just aggravating, because it was a game that I thought that we could win, and we were there to win. So I really wanted our baby Bockers to be there, and McBride and Grimes and RJ and others, but it wasn't meant to be. But like I said, it was a gallant effort.
Yeah, solid effort. We were in position to win up in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, we allowed it to get away from us and allowed the Celtics to win. But I echo some of your sentiments when it comes to Julius Randle. He has really been frustrating to start the season, and I think a lot of fans now are starting to see what I was saying back when I started the channel, and that Julius Randle is not going to be that guy that's going to carry you past that threshold and get you a victory when you really need it. I think he works well, and if he were to be paired with somebody that's of a higher talent level, a more elite scorer, or someone that can actually take the ball out of his hands. But last night, I really think he was a type of player that was too much of a ball stopper. I think last night was more so about Julius Randle not hitting his shot. The three-point shot has faded from his repertoire so far, and I think once his three-point shot is not falling, it allows defenses to guard him a lot easier, because now they can lay off him a little bit more, force him to take the three. And if he doesn't want to take the three, if he loses faith in that three, doesn't want to put the shot up, he's gonna be forced to attack the basket, get into the paint, and you already have your man sagging off of you, and they already want to force Julius Randle to make quick decisions. So when he does attack the basket, he's no longer getting the same separation in the mid-range, because now the defenders aren't off balance, because he has less ways to really attack the defense. And when he does get into the paint, there's a whole bunch of guys out there, because you have players like a Mitchell Robinson or Nerlens Noel clogging up the paint and not allowing Julius Randle to get enough space down there, down low. But even in certain one-on-one situations, there was things that I didn't like. You saw Pritchard was able to wall up and not allow him to get penetration. That was a little harder, especially when we saw Evan Fournier, I think a few possessions after, take Pritchard with ease to the basket and finish. So the way Julius Randle has been performing so far has been mind-boggling. I really didn't expect to see this level of regression from him. Like, we all knew there might be some steps taken back, because we added what we thought of, higher or better offensive players around him. But to see him take this dramatic of a step back, I think it really brings into question is, do the Knicks have to change their culture? Do we no longer have to force the issue through Julius Randle? Should we integrate more of these younger players into the rotation and start playing that way? Because I think what we've seen so far is the Knicks excel when we let our youth go out there and perform on the court.
Yeah. Randall, like you said, to the SV Nation, I sent out a couple of tweets during the game yesterday, and I'm like, a couple of possessions, if a guy that's 6'8" can't post up or beast on a 6'1" guard being Peyton Pritchard, we have a problem. We have a major problem, and that he couldn't do that. And also, we're just tired of his arguing with the refs. Stop it already. Just play basketball and get your head in the game. But we don't know where his head's at. So, like you were saying, hey, we've been searching for last year we had a defensive identity. We don't know what the identity this year is, but we can regain that defensive identity. But it's going to have to take Tibbs to get out of his rigid, thinking of the past, and think out of the box and say, you know what, I can't field a team of journeymen, because this year is about development. Is such a key part, but we can win. We could get back our defense while developing by making some rotation changes.
Yeah, so we'll get into the rotation changes a little bit later. But Foxy, anything else you saw from this team in terms of what they were doing out there on the court last night against the Celtics? I mean, it's a hard game to talk about for me personally, because you're stuck talking about a whole bunch of guys you're hoping are going to get moved towards the trade deadline. Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, maybe Alec Burks. So hopefully this was the game where everybody upped their trade value, so we can ship them out and bring some more, either young talent or some draft picks to try and help build around this young core. Anything you saw from Mitchell
Yeah.
Robinson? Because Mitchell Robinson right
Well,
now.
that was my comment. That was my comment to you off the record. Is like, you were busy at work. Like, how's it going? I went, well, at least Kemba's trade value is going up.
Yeah.
So, so what was the question?
The question is Mitchell Robinson. He's one of those fringe players when it comes to our young core. Some people think he should be included in our young core. We should extend him. And then there's another section of the fan base that thinks Mitchell Robinson's a little bit overrated and we should move on from him. So what did you see from him last night? He wasn't really a difference maker when it comes to stats. Even non-stats, he wasn't too much of a difference maker out there on the court. So what did you
3 points, 8 rebounds. Yeah. What I saw was what we see every game, him limping around like, what's wrong now? We saw Noel, like, what's he doing? He's missing his defensive assignments. Yep, he had his blocks, and he's pretty much one-dimensional at this point. He had 3 blocks, but that's it. There was other times he was like in the wrong position. They're letting Tatum go baseline. It's like, I'm like saying, thank God, or unfortunately, Clyde's in the COVID and he's out, because first thing out of Clyde's mouth as the SV Nation is like, you never give up baseline. Mm-hmm. And so from a defense, you're just saying, this is about technique. These are vets. They're in the league long enough at the 5 position, both of them, that they should be doing things that you shouldn't see rookies do. One thing is that they're ailing. Another thing is smarts. So they're failing on both parts, that they just look every game. It's exhausting. So to answer your question, I don't see Mitch as a foundational piece, because I don't think he'll ever be healthy. He'll always be nagging injuries, and also, he's worked himself better. It's noticeable that he lost weight, and it's noticeable that even with the ailments that he has, that his bounce has gotten better over the last few games. He looks a little bouncier, but still, he's just so fragile, and I just think that it's not going to end well.
Yeah, I'm still holding out some hope for Mitch, because you saw what it was like in that fourth quarter when he had a point guard in Deuce McBride. I was looking for him, trying to set him up and get him involved. And we saw how big of a monster he can be. So that's why I'm still a little bit hesitant, because he's still a young player. And if we do decide to give up on him, he may go to an organization that can kind of harness some of that talent. And if that is the case, I think I'd be extremely frustrated if he's able to go somewhere else and become the center we all thought he could be. So I'm still holding out some hope, but I want to see him get some more minutes out there with Deuce, and I'll be able to make a better evaluation of him when I see him with a legitimate point guard, putting him in positions to succeed. Because right now, I don't think we have a point guard that really does that when they're on the court with him. So I'm still going to, hold judgment until then. But Foxy, I'm seeing a chat from 1975 Jam Rock that's pretty interesting. He's saying it's not the culture, it's the coach. There is not a whole lot of variation to our offense. Hence, you don't get the best out of your main players. Not a lot of weak side action. And that's true. Well, we saw games against the Suns. We saw games against the Warriors where, the off-ball action is just foreign to a Knicks fan, because our team doesn't do that. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, this is just beautiful to see. You're looking at a cohesive unit. Every man's playing like they're attached on a string and working together and finding good looks for their teammates. So what do you think about what 1975 Jam Rock just said?
I think he's on target. You and I shared that. I said, you know what? I can't get the image out of my head of the ball movement of the Golden State Warrior game a few games ago. Their starting 5. Just can't get it out of my head, because it's Draymond and Wiggins and Looney and Curry and Poole, but there's not a CP3 type of talent there. Stefan's all-world shooting. There's not. So if these guys can move the ball like that, and in their rotation and the movement and player movement, and like you said, weak side and everything, why can't we do that? There's no reason in the world. We're totally capable of doing that, but it starts with the coaching. And that if they're not implementing a scheme like that to get everyone involved, because, and also it drives me crazy, they bring the defenders onto themselves rather, so they're doing these handoffs, and yet all the defenders are coming on, so there's really nothing they could do rather than, like you said, look at the other parts of the floor where you can distribute the ball and move it around, get that spacing. They're hurting spacing, they're not helping it. So yeah, it falls on the coach. Great, that this, what they're doing, whether, and have you ever seen in your life worse coaching from timeouts? That play last night, I was screaming, what the hell? That's a timeout, and then another Randall turnover like that. I've never, game after game, what the hell are you calling timeout for? If this is what that's your solution, ISO, when in doubt, ISO with Tibbs, pull the lever, break the glass, and hit the ISO. That's not what we want. That's, like I said, we just seen what players can do, and without having a CP3 type of player, that it's, you have to want to move the ball. You have to have that. And like you said, Julius kills. He's a rhythm vampire. I keep saying that. The ball stops there, and it gets brutal.
I hear you on that. So, Foxy, I understand our young guys are all dealing with COVID. We've got, 6 out at this point? RJ, Obi, Grimes, Deuce, Knox, and who's the 5th one I'm missing? IQ, Quick. How did I forget about Quick? How dare I? So that's 6 players, 6 of our young guys out due to COVID. Now, when they come back, what do you think Tibbs should do with the rotation? Because we've seen before those guys were taken away from us and put on the bench, but put in isolation due to COVID. We saw that they all were able to come off of big games. Obi had 19 and 10 before he went away. Grimes had 27 points, franchise record, 7 threes for a rookie. Quick and Deuce both had great games. Quick had 24 points, 7 threes, and Deuce had 15 points, 9 assists. Even Kevin Knox, he was solid. He had that 18-point performance. It was knocking down his three. So
and don't forget RJ. RJ was getting back in the groove.
32 points, I think, right before he went away.
Yeah, so, something like that, but he was shooting almost like 46%. So yeah, he was getting back in the groove. So like I was saying earlier, that last year we had an identity of defense, and I think we can get back that defense very, very fast. And I'm saying that from a Tibbs, he has to think out of the box instead of putting in. And there's a couple things that we'll touch on here. First, here's the lineup going forward. I would put in Deuce at the point guard, Grimes at the shooting guard, RJ at the small forward, Randall at the power forward, and Mitch at the 5. And just the core of Grimes, Deuce, and RJ, it reminds me a lot of like Toronto from a dog standpoint of Lowry, Van Fleet, and Powell a few years ago, that they're tough. So, when you statistically look at the team, that you say to yourself on defense that we are 5th in the league on 2-point percentage. We're 7th in the league in field goal percentage, but we're 19th in 3-point percentage, and that's about the perimeter. And I think absolutely by bringing in Deuce and Grimes to this lineup, that will help this perimeter defense and get back to the top 10 defense right away. And also, we won't have Tibbs with this type of lineup ever complaining about energy again. So with Deuce, I think everybody saw on 2 sides of the ball, this kid has a very high basketball IQ. Doesn't pick up his dribble. He keeps his head up. Very good court vision that'll only get better, with his experience. Passes with either hand, so he's not ball dominant. He can only pass with one hand. He, again, like a Lowry, he's very strong. He's 6'1" and change with a 6'9" wingspan, but he's built. He's strong. Great patience on screens. You can see that sometimes young players they're just trying so hard that he's patient. That he lets the play develop. And one of the things that we haven't seen yet that I saw in college, and also he did some in the summer league, he's very good at inbound, getting the inbound pass and putting up a long pass to get the transition. saving 5, 10 dribbles at other people. We don't have somebody that makes good, accurate passes up court to get the ball going. So, and build on that, his ability to hit mid range and 3-pointers is critical. And then on defense, his IQ, his force steals were all about his smarts. That one of his plays on a steal on Eric Gordon. He had 2 phenomenal plays on Eric Gordon. The first one was he was covering his guy on the 3, but he leaked out toward the thing. He saw him driving, and he went for a pick that he didn't, but he continued to drive. But he knew because of the position that Gordon was in, because of our 5 defending, that his only kick out was going to be to that 3 guy, and he went right in that passing lane and stole that ball. It was, wow, look at this. He was smart. He hampered him on his drive, but then he knew that the only thing that he can do was the only pass he had because he was going out of bounds, and he picked it off. And then he did another. That 6'9" wingspan of him is so disruptive. There'll be a lot of deflections, but his ability to slide, there were several plays, folks, that I'm sure that you saw also, whether it was Gordon or Augustine or others, where he slid and he stopped their penetration. It doesn't show up in the box score, but where they couldn't get to the paint. So whether driving for a layup or for a lob opportunity, they either had to take a mid-range, or most of the time what they did, because he literally shut down both Gordon and Augustine, both of them. They had, I think had 5 points. Gordon had, here. Gordon had, sorry, folks, too many things. Gordon had 5 points, and let's see. I don't even see his name here. So, he had 4 points. Augustine, DJ had 4. So he completely shut him down. But his ability to slide and stop them from penetrating is huge, because we've had a turnstile here with our point guards allowing guys to get in the paint. He does that. We see how he works getting over screens. He is tireless, picking people up 94 feet. He has those young legs. And so the key things here, if we take a step back and look at last year, folks, Elfrid Payton was our guard. So you're trying to tell me on the defensive front that we saw, you don't think that Deuce is going to be just as good at this level? He's going to be a whole lot better than Kemba. He's a whole lot better than D Rose on defense. So he's going to be that, but also on offense, he's going to shoot better than Payton. So the whole idea, like he's a rookie, Payton drove us crazy last year. We saw he had 9 assists. He's smart basketball. Yep. But you know what? I think it's time. There will be some growing pains. We know it, but we can develop. We can get back our identity on defense, but we could develop at the same time. And D Rose, what we've seen, folks, is we mentioned this in the stream last week, that his ankles are not, last year in the playoffs, he went out with an ankle. Those are weaknesses on him. So maybe he's better off on the second team eating against that. But if we want him, if we're going to make a run, we'll get into it, but we basically have the same record as we did last year. So there is hope. But for us to make a run, D Rose is going to be important. And I just don't think putting minutes on, I don't know how an injured ankle doesn't get, how it's going to heal during the season. So give Deuce the burn. What do we have to lose?
I hear you, Foxy. I hear you. So I put together my team as well. Not my team, but my rotation. So that's probably where we differ, because me personally, I'm on the top, guys. If you're looking at home, I still have Derrick Rose as the starter. I understand he's still having some issues with his ankle, but if you look at this team, we're looking a week or 2 out before we get everybody back together. I'm hoping Derrick Rose will be able to be recovered from that ankle injury. I'm still just a little skeptical when it comes to starting Deuce. He's still a rookie, he's still a second-round pick, and I don't want to go out there, feed him to the wolves, have him start already, and then what if he has some struggles at some point? I don't want to then turn around and
he will have struggles.
Exactly. I don't want Tibbs to then turn around and then bench him and try, potentially mess with his head at all. So I'm cool with Derrick Rose continuing to be the starter when healthy, but you can still monitor his minutes and you can still get a solid dose of Deuce coming off the bench. Not only that, with Deuce on the bench, I like him because he'll still be out there with Obi. We saw what Deuce was able to do with Mitch in the fourth quarter. Imagine Deuce and Obi out there running up and down the court with that second unit. And Deuce and
also Quick again.
Yep, Deuce and Quick we saw in that game. They played very well off of each other. So to have that second unit still have Deuce, Quick, and Obi, I think we're going to have enough energy, enough of those guys flying up and down the court. And, I'll make my shocking selection for the backup center when we get there. But I think that lineup at that second unit will be nice. The starters, a lot of the same points, I believe. I agree with you, Foxy. You're going to have solid defense with Grimes and RJ. And I'm comfortable with those two being out there defensively with Derrick Rose. So when Derrick Rose does tend to get beat on the perimeter, you still have those guys out there willing to, able to help him when he has some issues defensively. And Derrick Rose, we talk about his perimeter defense. One thing we do see a lot from Derrick Rose is the fact that he's able to recover and contest shots at the rim. So you look at all those factors. I'm still going to have Mitch as the starter. I think Mitch operates best as a starter. He just needs a point guard that'll look for him. And I think Derrick Rose will start to look for him as they start to get more games under their belt. Remember last year when we brought in Derrick Rose, Mitchell Robinson wasn't really able to benefit from his addition to the team. So hopefully now they'll get some constant minutes together where they can learn how each other, learn each other's spots out there on the court and have a little bit more synergy. And of course, we're still going to have Julius Randle starting at the power forward, but hey, we don't really. I'm not gonna elevate Obi to a starter just yet. I still think Obi needs a little bit more time to get better. He's definitely made some strides, but there's always room for Obi to get better. And I think until that moment where we can definitively say he's a better option than Julius Randle, I'm still going to have Julius Randle starting.
Who do you have at the 2 and 3?
I'm sorry, you can't see. I had at the 2 and 3. It's Grimes and RJ.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you bring Fournier to the second team too?
Fournier to the second team, correct. So Rose.
Yeah, we're there. I have no problem with the Rose as long as Deuce gets some experience on the second team and gets burned to develop and get adjusted to the speed of this game and the players. I'm down with that. But yeah, I think that's a great lineup. So yeah, I think we're there. My only issue, like I said to you, is I don't like, whether it's a Burks or something, I don't like when a player has a history of issues. So I don't want us to get into a groove and that player goes down and then we have to bring Deuce back to the starting lineup or something like that. And then Rose comes back and then we have to go through the thing again and he's great. And then he goes down with an ankle again and then Deuce comes back. So, but if he's on the second team, we go through that anyway. So I think it's a win-win. But I said start. I didn't say I'm with you about D Rose closing though.
Yeah. D Rose can continue to close. Whoever's hot, that's how I'm going about it. Whoever's playing best at that point in time, those are the 5 we're going to go out there with.
Yep, that sounds good to me, man. That sounds really good to me. And on the second team, like you said, Deuce and Quick, they have nice chemistry together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have the solid defense from those 2 guards out there. Have the shooting prowess of both Deuce and IQ. I like that backcourt tandem. It was a lot of things I liked from that game when they were able to close it out there together. Let's see. So Foxy,
you have a couple of super chats, I believe.
Oh yeah, let me get into those. 1975 Jam Rock says more flares, pin downs, back screens, and horn flex. Facts. We do need to have a lot more off-ball movement for this team. Also, he says another $2 super chat. Thank you for the donation. Saying pick and roll between Rose and J30, back cuts and flares for Evan Fournier. We need to get some more off-ball action for I think Quick as well, getting some easier looks. I feel like we don't use Quick enough off-ball. We more so like to get the ball in his hand and let him shoot there. But I think in catch and shoot situations where he's making moves, cuts, trying to get open, similar, not exactly like Steph Curry, but some of the things that the Golden State Warriors do for Steph, try to get him open and get him some clean looks.
Yeah, that's the blueprint for us. I think that we should look at that offense and mimic it all we can. Julius, with the assistant stuff, obviously Draymond is, he'll go down in history for changing the point forward position, but he can mimic that. And all the other guys on the team, hey, it comes down to the coaching. And this is what we have in here. We need to change that scheme immediately.
Yeah. So Foxy, I have the second unit up now. Yours is on the top. No, mine is on the top, and your selection is on the bottom. So you want to let the chat know, let SV Notion know what second unit you're going to go with, and your explanation as why.
Yeah. My second unit was D Rose, IQ, Fournier, Obi, and Noel, and because 4 of the 5 have already been playing together. They're tight, so Fournier would be new. He had a great game yesterday, but I thought maybe he'd eat a lot better going against second team guys, both on offense and defense, that he's not trying to stop elite players on the first team. So it was pretty much keeping the second team as it is, but just putting Fournier there and putting Burks to the bench, not on the first or second team. He's next man up as a utility guy. So I think that, and also I feel that if he's truly talented, meaning Fournier, he'll dominate against the second team defenders and make a case for him to get back to the first team. But put him in that situation to get back to his confidence and light it up like he did against the Celtics.
Yeah. So with my second unit, only major difference we have outside of the point guard, which you already discussed, is going to be at center. You have Noel coming in on the second unit, and I have Sims. So I think Sims needs to get more minutes with that second unit. I like the way that unit is going to be able to move up and down the court. And I think Sims' athleticism is going to benefit greatly from that. So Nerlens Noel, I've seen enough from Nerlens. I really wasn't a fan of us re-signing him. And, not saying that we're going to sit him on the bench for the rest of the season, but him not being in this second unit means we should be moving on from him, looking to try and get some trades discussed so that way we can free up that roster spot too for someone that can contribute long term. I think Jericho Sims, it's been criminal the fact that he hasn't been getting enough minutes throughout this season. I understand he's on the 2-way deal and there's a limit to how much they can play him, but we're in a season where players are dropping like flies right now, and you're saying we can't get Jericho Sims in there, get some quality minutes. Not.
I mentioned yesterday that I watched the Westchester game that he played, and he made 2 plays that I was like, wow, he got the ball in the post, and it looked like Jared Allen footwork. He made a fake this way and had this really nice little jump hook for 2. And then he went beast mode, which I never saw him be so aggressive. He went up, got the ball, made a fake, went up and dunked the ball and got fouled. So I was like, so the only reason I had Noel here, because sometimes I don't think our front office wants to admit a mistake. So that they'll perpetuate the mistake rather than say, you know what, like you said, let's get Noel on the first train out of here. Sims, come on, time for you to play. So I love you, man, because I think all the things you're saying are right on. So I'd absolutely love Sims on that second team.
Yeah. How do you think? I know Fournier in that second unit, he might gripe a little bit, but I think you saw what he did yesterday. He still has some offensive firepower out there. He can go and have a game like that, even though it seems like he only scores 30 some odd points against the Celtics for some reason. Hopefully we play the Celtics every single night. He'd be an MVP.
The same thing with Kemba.
Yeah, the both of them. I mean, I hope they're able to replicate this level of success, but we got a tough stretch for us. But I not really a tough stretch in terms of games, but a tough stretch in terms of we not really having our full rotation of roster available to us. But I think Fournier would be able to kill with this unit. You got 3 shooters, if you want to include Deuce, who at the most part is shooting over 40% from 3. And most of the times, in most years he's been playing. Well, last year he shot 41% in college, I believe.
Deuce, yes, he did.
And then in the G League, he's also been shooting it crazy from three. So you've got
In
him.
fact, I think he shot 60% in the G League.
Yeah, it's going crazy. So you have him, you have Quick, and you have Fournier, all three players that can kill you from the perimeter. You would hope Obi starts to get better with his 3-point shooting. I know you like to get at him, Foxy. Is he still shooting sub 20% from three, or did he finally get that up a little bit?
I think he's 19 and change. He's Obi is 19.6%. Yep. I thought he was 19. So
we'll round up. We'll round up. He's at 20. He's at 20%.
Yeah.
Then we got Jericho Sims, and that'll round up my second unit. What do you think?
Yeah, at least he's a big body for setting screens and everything else. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I think your suggestions are great. I think we have another super chat, my friend.
Let's see. Did we?
Oh, I thought where's Burks in either the starting or second unit? Did you cover that?
1975 Jam Rock. He's saying, where is Burks in either starting or second unit? I think he's on the trade wire too.
I don't have him in the rotation any longer. Jam Rock. I have him as a utility guy, next guy up.
Situational, yeah. So Noel in my rotation, he'd be situational. Same thing with Burks. Same thing with Dodge. Either that or trade pieces. Even though I'd still trade Evan Fournier for the right there.
Me too. We've talked about whether swap for Buddy Hield and stuff like that because their contracts are very similar. I'm up for it, and only because again of his defensive woes that he'll get a shooting stroke back, but he'll never be able to fix his slow feet.
Yeah. So Foxy, as of right now, we've got games against the Pistons, Wizards, Hawks, Timberwolves, Pistons again, Thunder, Raptors, Pacers, Celtics, and we've got Celtics twice, January 6th and January 8th. Back to back. So what do the Knicks have to do if we can in order to right this ship in these upcoming games? I know we'll be shorthanded. You would hope some of these players are going to be back, if not by the Hawks game, by the Timberwolves game. What do you think we are going to have to do if we want to turn this thing around and get back into playoff contention?
Well, I think by that time, because he was one of the first to go out with COVID, is RJ. We need RJ to show that consistency. We need him to, hey, we talked about him being the face of this franchise. Julius may not like it, but we want, RJ to take this team over. So RJ, it's up to you to take that the team over, show that consistency, finish better at the rim. We need more assists out of him. He's not enough assists. We need him to get to the foul line more and play that solid D. But with the lineups that you talked about, whether mine or yours, if he had a Deuce in the lineup or he had a Grimes there, both or just one of them, I think it takes some pressure off him because some of the people that we had there, he was not only guarding his guy, but his eyes were on everybody else. Like the poor guy couldn't really focus on his own guy because of the defensive woes of his teammates, that if we up-level the defensive talent, then he could really focus. So we need RJ to third year, bring in that consistency, be that, borderline 20-point scorer. Right now, RJ is 15 points, almost 2.7 rebounds. He needs more, 5.6 rebounds and 2.1 assists. So he has 2.1 assists and 1.7 turnovers. So we want a higher ratio than that, but we need him to get back. And then again, Randall, whether we like it or not, until he's not on this team, he is on this team. So we need him to cut back on turnovers. We need him to cut back on ISO. We need him to set better picks. We need him to throw more timely and more accurate passes, whether out of kickouts and stuff like that. He needs to go back to the mid-range game that he had last year. He's, like you said, a lot of it has to be dealing with defense, taking that away and packing the paint because of our fives not being able to stretch the floor and clogging up the paint. But he needs to use his physicality, drive and score and get to the foul line. And he needs to play solid D. He needs to box out. He needs his technique. And a lot of us see, a lot of times he's just jogging up the court. He needs to get up the court. So, Randall has to take a sip of whatever he was doing last year and maybe just get his head into it. But we're not doing anything without RJ and Randall. We love our kids. Meeting the baby Bachers, Deuce and Grimes and Sims and IQ, but RJ and Randall are critical. Like I said, last year at this point, folks, we were 14-16 after 30 games. This year we're 13-17. So we're there. Even though it's only a 72 game season, we can turn this around, but there's going to have to be some changes made, and especially on defense, because if you're looking at our team right now, folks, we're 23rd in the league, scoring 105.9 points, but we're 16th in the league, giving up 107 points. We're basically giving up 2 points more than we score. And that's not a winning recipe. So we got to get defense back. And the only way, that's why I went with Deuce and Grimes. It's really critical that we play those guys because we're going to get defense. We'll have some growing pains on some other parts of their games, but I think defense will be solid every single night.
Yeah, and that's why you're saying the mantra of this season should now be defense and development. Those should be the two things that team should be focused on moving forward. Before we get into it a little bit more, into the schedule, anybody you want to shout out, Foxy?
Yeah, just again, John Talento, one of the great minds in history. Hi, John. Hope all is well with your family. Very grateful. Keenan Lambert, Boost Mobile, Lex the Destroyer, some of the great mods in history. Andrew K. Hope all is well with you and the family. Anthony 212. We talked about 1975 Jamrock. Thanks again. We really appreciate your generosity. DeBur. Let's see who else. Manchild, one of our greats. Always supporting for a long time. Hope all is well, Manchild. Justin L. Yo, I was getting worried. I haven't seen my buddy. I always talk about Kentucky's finest, and I'm not talking about bourbon. I'm talking about the man, the legend, Justin L. I hope as well you and the family. I missed you over the couple of weeks. I was getting ready to put out a search party for you. So good to see you, my friend. Much love. And let's see, Ace of Spades. So everybody, do me a favor. Please hit that subscribe button. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do that. You're missing out on a great time. Last week, we hit the 5,000 milestone. And folks, just to show how wonderful you are, that just in 1 week, we've gained over 120 subscribers since last week. So we're going leaps and bounds. We're over 6,000. Here we come. So if you haven't hit that subscribe, please, we guarantee you'll love it. Like I always say, it will enlighten you. Sometimes it'll be controversial, but it's always entertaining. So, and also do me a favor, please hit that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the wonderful content that Keys puts out on Sports 5 TV. Please share the link on your favorite social media platforms. And last but not least, as always, shout out to the best mods on the planet. We appreciate all you do. And a couple of last shout outs. My girl Geraldine is in. So Geraldine, hope all is well. It's not a show without Geraldine in the chat, man. Joey Matrani, hope all is well. And let's see, anybody else will catch up. Warren Franklin, yo, Charlie Ward's cousin, always likes, nice to see you, man. Hey, Citizen X, man, the X-Man of the SV Nation, man. We love Citizen X, man. Yo, Bricks Nation also, man. Yo, we love our Citizen X.
Foxy, we got another $2 super chat from 1975 Jamrock. He's saying, need to give up a couple firsts for Resh, late first. And I would counter that. I think I saw, here we go. Nick
I'm going to give up a couple firsts for him.
Yeah, Knicks Nation 112 says, Knox in a second round picture cover Cam. I'd live with that. I was suggesting
Knox in the second. Yeah. That's more in my ballpark. Than giving up a couple of firsts for him. Not at this stage. Meaning, we saw a couple of proposed trades for Ben Simmons. And they weren't giving up a couple of firsts.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. So I'm down for that. And he's athletic. Something this team needs badly. And also a reunion with his buddy RJ. So I'm sure it put a big smile on his face.
Yeah, Citizen X also, thank you. Appreciate the support. He sent a $10 super chat. He's saying to the best Knicks crew online. Facts. Thank you, Citizen X. I appreciate that. Foxy, I'm sure you appreciate that as well.
Oh, I do, man.
Yeah, so salute to Citizen X. He's been holding down the channel for a while, both the edits and the live stream. So I appreciate all the support.
Yeah. Sincere the Genius. Also, don't want to miss you. It's me. Hope all is well. It's me. Good to see you, God buddy. And again, anyone, please put the thumb up if you're new to the channel, or just a hashtag new, so we or the mods could see you and give you a proper welcome to the family.
So, Foxy, let's ask a quick trade question, because it's trade season now, and I think we all can agree that the Knicks do need to add some players to this roster. I don't think we have to go after a big ticket player, but we should bring in some young players that kind of fit where we're heading as a team. I see Bricks Nation made in trade for Reddish. Would you be on the Reddish group as well in terms of trying to talk to him for a trade, or is there another player, another
I would.
You think we should go after?
Like you said, some of the players I'm worried about. I don't think teams are going to really be giving up young talent unless they're really flush with people at that same position. And the Hawks are in that position. So I think there's some leverage because they have so many wings there. We can get a Cam. So I like Cam. Like I said, he's been hitting his three. That athleticism, I think with the right value, he'd be a good addition to this team. Okay. There's guys like a Milwaukee, Nora, good 3-point shooters, 6'8", nice size, second year out of Louisville. I just don't know whether we can get them. So it's crazy, and I'm not one for having speculative trade talks. Like, can we get, let's get this person. You just know that you can never, I love DeJounte Murray as much as anybody, but why would San Antonio give up a young foundational piece like that? It wouldn't make any sense. So we can talk about it, but we like to talk about things that are really more realistic.
Realistic. Yeah. Perfect time if I had a realistic rebuild to give a little promo. But Foxy, so looking at this team, who would you consider as untouchable? Because everybody likes to talk about who we can go out and get, but like you said, in a realistic trade scenario, we have to give up players. So who on this team would you say is strictly untouchable? Hang the phone.
Truthfully, I don't think anyone's untouchable.
Ooh.
I really didn't. If the right player came up, meaning let me ask you a question. If somebody said straight up RJ and we can get Jaylen Brown, what would you say?
Jaylen Brown.
Thank you. So, love RJ, but his lack of athleticism, it comes back to that A word again. You keep hearing me say it. We've seen his lack of hops, that, he's gotten his shot blocked. I think it's 27 times this season, had it blocked 86 times last season. So he's on the same trajectory that he's going to have a fine career. I think if he gets some other things, he could be a borderline all-star. But if we can get a bona fide all-star, and somebody that has that explosive. This game, the NBA is about speed or getting to your spot. Speed, he can use his physicality to get to his spot, but if he's going against a defender that has greater speed, he's going to take away his spot, and that's the issue that we've seen with RJ. RJ with the right defender could be closed down. If we can get somebody who can't get closed down, you got to make the trade. Julius, I get rid of in a freaking second.
In a heartbeat. I've been trying to trade Julius for 2 years, man.
I know, man. Power to you. I've tried to jump on the Julius train, but I've been jumping off. I'm permanently off that. My disdain for him grows game by game. His stats are deceiving. And I talked about a week or so. I'm trying to give him a benefit of doubt a couple of weeks ago that what did the front office really do when we look at Chicago? What did they do for Zach LaVine? They brought in DeRozan, they brought in Ball, they brought in Caruso, they did Vucevic, and they helped him. What do we bring in? Kemba and Fournier. But it goes beyond that. His attitude, his lack of IQ. We can't, and I can't see him taking a different role. I think he'll just sulk. So I don't even see him being able to become a third option, because in his brain, he's a first option. And everybody else is like, you're not a first option. And I think his turnovers at the worst amount of times, I think if we can get rid of him February 3rd, I would not have. So getting back to your answer, nobody on this squad is untouchable to me, because we just don't have the talent.
I mean, Fox, you talk about Julius Randle and his turnovers. I mean, he's turning the ball over when the ball's not even in his hand with the stupid offensive fouls. And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh.
One after the other. How many did he have? Two in a row? I'm like, and how many games have we seen them do that where he had this spurt of turnovers and you're like, you're just killing us. And Fournier had a great game, but he had a couple of turnovers in critical time where you're like, this is the worst time. And again, they're vets. These are not 21-year-olds or 19-year-olds doing it, folks. So,
and it makes you question Tibbs. You said you love these vets because they show up in those crunch time and those clutch moments, but yet they're the ones dropping the ball.
Yeah, and if they showed up, why did they had 5 post game press conferences talking about energy?
Exactly.
So you ain't playing the baby boxes, so it ain't their issues not giving you the energy. So it's bullshit. So that's why we got to make some changes, but we also have to be realistic that when we look at the rosters, and we were very upfront about it, there was a couple of, or you think the Knicks are going to have the 4 seed? Oh, no. That the East is stacked, but they have elite talent, and some of the other teams, they're young and elite, and they're only going to get better over the next few years. So that's why for us, and also I don't mean anything that I'd say, you know what, we have to be realistic. Let's play the kids, like you said, apropos that they're going to have some learning pains and stuff like that. But if we have a season where they develop, they learn Grimes and Deuce and IQ and Sims and Obi, and then we don't even make the playoffs. We come in, we're 12th right now. You know what? Too bad it wasn't last year because of the quality of the draft, but we have to up-level the talent. We have so many draft choices. Right now, I think we're the 10th draft slot. With if we can get a little higher up and stuff like that, I don't think we're going to be able to up-level the skill set. We may be able to get one player, but the cost of it will be brutal. We're going to have to do this through the draft. And when we may have to bite the bullet for a season or two and saying, you know what, this may not, with the COVID and everything, we may not have the greatest season this year, but you know what, it'll be invaluable because we gave the kids so much time that next year they're going to be spectacular. We're not going to be worrying about what they're doing in summer league because we saw them play so much this year. And if we get a draft choice of somebody that has talent, we could really we need to add talent to this base so let's ship out anybody who hey, I'd trade RJ down to, if we got the right package, down to reunite with his buddy Zion down in New Orleans.
Ingram.
So if Ingram is part of the package, Ingram's never been part of a winning team.
Ingram has to be part of the package if I'm moving off of RJ.
Oh, a word.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not trading RJ for Jonas.
No, because I think we can get him in other ways because he's a free agent. So that's why, again, last week when you touched about that could be our 5 of the future, that maybe we can get him for a second round or in a Knox or something like that. And to have a guy that's a 2011 type of player, wow, the spacing, everything that we talked about, Julius and all the issues, or that goes away when you have a 5 like that because they're going to have to defend differently.
That's why I didn't understand why they did so many multi-year contracts. They wanted to kick the can down the road and do the 1-year contracts, bring the fellas back again and run it back like that. It would have made sense because at least next year you have Bradley Beal. He's a potential free agent. If you want the Knicks to go after him, that's an option they could pursue. Same thing with Valanciunas. If you felt like Mitch was the option at center, he's going to be leaving after next season. If you don't resign him, you could sign him for relatively, I won't say cheap, but somewhere in the same ballpark of Nerlens Noel. He's only making, I think, $4 million more than Nerlens. So yeah. I don't get why we had to invest so much into some of these older veterans. I understand you want to look out for
journeymen,
but we didn't have to lock them into long-term deals.
Yeah, exactly. And I keep using the term journeyman because if they're on that many teams, then they can't be that valuable. That they're expendable, and like you said, we shouldn't have locked in. The front office should have been, we heard about Leon and everyone being so as agents, all their wisdom. But what the hell are you locking in? Like I just said, look what Chicago, from a roster reconstruction standpoint, did in 1 year, and look what we did. We took away our cap leverage journeyman. So, and also extending a guy who is killing us. And you said one of the most epic things of Julius' season last year was the worst thing that could possibly happen to us. It hurt us, our future, more than it helped us.
Yep.
That season, everybody thought that was the Julius of the future. And no, it's old Julius. It's like a horror movie. Old Julius keeps showing up again. We're just waiting for, what do you call that spin again in the paint?
Oh, what the Beyblade or the Randall spin?
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to call them Beyblade.
Yeah, because that's around the corner pretty soon. Going back to that.
Yeah, Foxy. The season last year completely threw off the Knicks' plans, because you don't go and extend Julius Randle after you spent the 8th overall pick on Obi Toppin. So clearly
lunacy.
Yeah, exactly. Clearly Julius Randle wasn't in our long-term plans, and the team had to pivot. What sucks is the fact that, we're now making this move to try and win now with a Tom Thibodeau and with Julius Randle as our engine. And I don't think either one of them are the right options to achieve that common goal. Tibbs, solid coach, hard worker, I'm sure. But I think with this, I'm sure we know for a fact Tibbs is a hard worker, but with this roster, I think it's not set up, ideally for a Tom Thibodeau, especially if you're trying to squeeze out as many wins as possible. We all know this is probably Tom Thibodeau's last stop as a coach. So he's making any move. He's all his moves are to try to win now and continue to get better and better. I think the route we should have brought in someone like a Kenny Atkinson, someone that can help teach these young guys. You can see we wanted to make Obi more so a focal point of this team, pair him with RJ, and we've got a lot of guys that we think we can develop and make better NBA players. But with Julius Randle getting better, I think a lot of the development went to the wayside, and we tried to bring in guys or re-sign guys that are gonna help us get maybe an extra win or two. And I think now you're seeing that the guys that they did bring in, like an Evan Fournier and a Kemba Walker, just don't fit with Julius Randle. And it puts us in a weird place now, because not only are we losing games, we're not developing our young players. So if this continues to go on, this is going to be a lost season where we don't really benefit anything. Most of the young guys aren't even on the court right now because they're dealing with damn COVID. So it's frustrating as a Knicks fan. Hopefully we get them back quick, and Tibbs can understand that maybe he should adjust his focus. We already know what we're getting from Nerlens Noel, from Burks, and it's inconsistent. Let's see what we can get from some of these young guys, and maybe by playing them, that energy that they're bringing can bring us back to the Knicks of last season, where we weren't the most talented team. We won't be the most talented team when we play our young guys, but I think we'll be the most hungry, and we'll fight, and we'll be in positions to win. And at that point, you hope Julius Randle can make a shot or two to put us over and get us that victory.
Yeah. And personally, my definition of winning is a chip. It's not making a one and done in the playoffs. So adding a couple of journeymen that made us a little better. And then, the one thing about Tibbs that sticks out to me is that he's 25-36 in his career in the playoffs. His last two series, he's 2-8. So he lost two series in a row, 4-1. So it's not only the regular season where we all scream about this guy doesn't know how to make a mid-game adjustment. He doesn't know how to make an adjustment in the playoffs, which is the most critical time of the year. So I think his time has come. We talked about the offense a short time ago, and prefaced this conversation with it. So I don't see, he has an incredible reputation as a defensive coach, but I want to win a chip. I just don't want to make the playoffs. That's not it for me. And maybe I'm by myself. I don't think I am. I think the New York Knicks fans are the most dedicated, and they deserve a championship. They deserve having the right players. For us to have a home record and for us to have losses, we don't have the right guys on the roster. I've never seen a team at home that don't have that play like that, lackadaisical and like, it was like, no, this is our house. We'll get in your face. We'll bite your nose off, man. Nobody's going to be doing that in our house. So we do have roster issues. That's not the type of players that we want on a New York team. It's not the type of players. And you know what? When you don't have an elite talent team, the only way to beat an elite talent team is with physicality and energy. And if we don't have that from those guys, one of the stats that's really, really bothered me is, and quickly, I saw it on Quickly. Quickly wouldn't take a charge in one of the games. He took a step to the side rather than take the charge. And I went, that, come on, Quickly, you've gotten better on defense, but that's bullshit. Deuce would have taken that. But I looked it up. Kemba Walker, who had his first game and God knows what, is leading the team right now with 15 charges that he's taken. And the closest thing, a guy I believe is Burks at 7, and then our guard position is like 2 or 3. They're not willing to take that. And that's why I'm saying you put Grimes, folks, you produce in there, that's going to change. They're going to, I love when I see a defensive player bounce their chest off somebody. They're not going to get the call, meaning get a foul on it, but they're playing, their bodies, and Tibbs has talked about, if you're small or whatever, you got to put your body on somebody. You got to put your body on somebody. And if these guys are afraid to put their body, then they're not the guys that we want on this roster.
Facts. Yeah. I mean, it's at an important point in time right now. This is a make or break season. I'm not make or break season. This is a make or break point in the season right now. And hopefully the guys are going to answer the call. It sucks that we don't have some of our young guys out there. And I think what's crazy is we don't really know exactly when they'll be back, because everybody, responds to it differently. You got players like LaMelo Ball. He just came back. He missed 6 games. It's a weird spot to be in as a Knicks fan. They should have postponed the games and allow our guys to get healthy.
And the worst part is Tibbs, that I just have this terrible thing in my belly that when the kids do come back, you're like, why isn't he playing them? That was only one game they had a great game. I'm going with my vets. Come on.
You hear him in the post-game press conferences? Like, it's only one game. It's better than it's a better showing than we saw from the vets. What's going on?
Exactly. So that's what prompted me to say that my gut is telling me that he's going to say, you know what? Yeah, Miles had a good game, but I'm going back to what? Going back to a defense that gives a team that gives up 2 more points than we score every night, a defense that doesn't want to get around screens, a defense that doesn't communicate, a defense that's not, physical. So that's my issues, is that, come on, are you going to have an epiphany or, something, a reckoning to say, you know what, I have to put these guys in there, and I'm not going to be sacrificed. If anything, I'm gaining on defense with these guys versus some of the guys that I'm playing.
Yeah. Also want to give a quick shout out to our guy, Jay Boogie. We will be debuting a song here to close. All right. We're in the Christmas spirit. So, of course, we're going to be dropping Jay Boogie's song that's coming out. What is it? We back on Christmas.
So featuring Papa Left and Cully, he's dropping it today, folks, on all platforms, and we'll be playing that later. So Jay Boogie, the one and only, we got you back. Can't wait to premiere it today at the show. So we've heard podcasting was brilliant. We heard the squad, which is unbelievable. Now we back on Christmas, man. So the man, the talent,
and this one's lit too. It's got a nice part of it. It's got a nice little portion of the beat that you can kind of like vibe with. That I really, really like.
I know
it carries throughout the whole part of the song. Yeah, some dope verses. So shout out to Jay Boogie, Cully, and Papa Left. Let's see what else we got going on here. Delano still, what's good? DSJ, how's everything with you? He's saying, here's the bright side to not postponing games. We lose, we improve our draft placement, and might finally address the small forward need. Julian, how do you pronounce it? Champagne?
Yeah.
Would be my target.
The Champagne. Yeah, he'd be my target. That's the kid out of St. John's, Delano. So his brother we just saw the other night, I believe, with Toronto. So, nice size. I don't know about his quickness. He does have prototype size. He can shoot at 6'8", but there's a couple other guys. That's what I said last year. Last year was the year, folks. It was stuck. Yeah.
I think we might have somebody special on the line. Give me 1 second. Let me see if it's correct. Hello? Hello?
What's going on, Keith?
I guess it's not working. I thought I could hear him.
I just heard somebody.
You heard him?
Yeah. Hello?
Can you guys hear me?
I'm not hearing. Hello?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm not hearing.
Oh, looks like.
Oh, all right. What's good, JD? How's everything, bro?
All right. I guess you guys can hear me. I guess the next question is, can everyone in the chat hear?
Yeah, chat. Can you guys hear? Yeah, they're saying they heard him.
Yeah. So, folks, we're trying to bring in new layers to the show, having phone calls where people we could interact. So, yep. So JD, our first caller.
Appreciate that, bro. Thank you for calling in.
Well, thank you for taking my call. And I think, first of all, I just want to say congratulations to you guys. Congratulations to Sports 5 TV, to the platform. You guys have taken a major step in your growth. You having 200 in the chat week by week now during your Sunday show. And I think that's a testament to the hard work that you guys are putting in and also the content. The fans are enjoying it and everyone has been very receptive and supportive. So I'm hoping that the Knicks, the team that we're covering, can start to put some wins together so that it can be a little bit more enjoyable. But I'm very proud of you guys, and you guys have been part of my journey. I've been a part of your journey, and now with this phone call, I think there's going to be a breakthrough now, because now the fans that are in the chat that want to chime in, you can now type in the chat or you can call in. So I think this is going to be a very, very good step, and I can't wait to continue to see the show tonight and also future shows, because now you guys are gonna get to hear the fans, and that feedback, that interaction is always fun. So congratulations to you guys on that.
Appreciate
Thank you, and also congratulations to you.
Facts.
Your meteoric rise, co-host of Knicks Fan TV. Shout out to CP, the franchise. Great show and fan, but I'm proud of you, JD, and also the world class takes. I can listen to JD forever, man. So we're proud of you, and and also just the whole syndicate. Our guy George to the Knicks first. So we're proud of all of us, man. But I feel so honored to be around you guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Very much appreciated, and. Any of my personal growth wouldn't be possible without, Keith giving me an opportunity to be on his platform, and Stephen Fox. A lot of people don't know. He gives me a lot of guidance behind the scenes. That helps me, continue to be sharp. So, and I guess I'll give a thought, maybe ask a question, and allow you guys to continue the show. The topic today seems to be a lot about Julius Randle and what do we do moving forward. I think when, I mentioned what the Knicks are going to have to do, what Tom Thibodeau is going to have to do is just change the approach on the offense, change the system, decide to run it through the guards, run the sets through the guards, and allow Julius Randle to just become an option within the offense. Now, will that happen? Seems to be unlikely, just because when you really look at Tibbs and post-game press conferences, he seems a little bit defensive when he gets challenged on Julius Randle or he gets asked about Julius Randle's subpar performances. And that tells me that there's a little bit of a personal relationship there between Tibbs and Randle. Remember, one of the biggest criticisms that Tibbs got in Minnesota was his relationship with Karl-Anthony Towns. So is Tibbs now trying to, hang in there with Julius Randle because of the criticism he received? And that's the ups and downs of a coach, right? You go somewhere, things don't work out, you go somewhere else, and now you have to develop that relationship with whoever's the best player on that team. In our case, that's Julius Randle. The problem with that approach is Julius Randle's our best player, but his style of play isn't the best for the rest of his teammates. And so as a coach, you would have to adapt to that And I would think the best approach is to change the system, run it through the guards. We've seen McBride have a good game. We've seen Derrick Rose have good games. You saw Kemba last night, which affected Fournier. And those are the guys we have to get going. And if you don't do that, I think the second thing is you have to surround Randall with the young guys. Give Grimes minutes, give McBride minutes, put more energy and speed around him. One of the things that I think the starting lineup has, which is a weakness, is there's not enough speed in this starting five. When you talk about Noel, Randall, Fournier, and when RJ comes back, you're playing in such fast, athletic league. Maybe this is another reason why we're starting so slow. So there's a lot of things Tibbs has to consider. I guess I'll end my call with a question. What do you guys think happens now with Kemba moving forward? And if you had to guess, do you think Grimes and McBride both play? Or do you think only Grimes plays? And thank you for taking my call, sorry. And shout out to Sports 5 TV, everyone in the chat, the mods. Always want to shout out the mods. I say the same thing on Trend TV. The mods are what keep the show running smooth. So shout out to everyone. And I'll hang up and continue to listen to the show.
Appreciate you, JD. First caller on Knicks Fan TV. Give him a round of applause.
Yeah, roadcaster to the rescue.
And now I can actually hear what I'm playing,
Yeah, we love our JD. So what do you think on what he asked? Do you think from a Kemba stand, it all comes back to that rigid old man?
Yeah, you would hope it would change things with Kemba, give him a little bit more minutes to contribute, especially with shorthanded. I think, until we start getting guys back, Kemba will be a part of the rotation. But I think Tibbs is going to bench him again once we get our younger guys back. And I'm okay with it if it means more minutes for Deuce. If you were going to ask me who do I think should get more minutes, Kemba or Deuce, I'm going to say Deuce 10 out of 10, because then if Kemba for these next 3 or 4 games continues to play well, he can up his trade value. We can move on from him and get some more assets. So hopefully Deuce is will be a player that benefits from Kemba hitting the bench. And also I think Grimes is going to get more minutes. You cannot allow these players to ball out like that and then hide them at the end of the bench, especially if we're going to go through this stretch where we're shorthanded. And, when those guys come back, we're going to need them to contribute. We can't continue to do this 8-man rotation, especially when you've got players like Wayne Selden that's part of the 8-man rotation. We got to get these guys involved, and we got to get them involved now. As soon as they get back, we need more minutes, 25 minutes per game for all of them.
I love what you just said. And like you were just saying, Sims or Selden. And shouldn't even get to the second time. Sims or Selden done. See you, Wayne. Thank you. Enjoy go back to Israel where you were MVP and you'll eat there, but we can't keep that roster spot like that. Come on. So getting back to JD, I think, it could cause, I think he made some comments yesterday, Kemba, almost like saying, you know what, I was a gentleman when this happened and I shut up. But after last night's game, I'm angry because I could still play in this league, man. I think the anger is going to start coming out. So I think either they deal him or play him. But if they bench him, I think it's going to cause more havoc in the locker room and like saying, why are you doing this to this guy, man? He showed he still has it. And you know what he did? He showed that in a situation, like we were saying earlier with Burks or something, whether you need more size, but with the right situation, Kemba, is great. I also think that yesterday Kemba's performance was a lot to do with him sitting for a while. He was fresh. So those fresh legs, gave us, visions of old Kemba and lighting up like that. So, but I don't know if he played on a regular basis that over in 5 games, whether we'd see the Kemba that we saw against the Celtics. Regardless, the most important part is his trade value. You have, it's like stocks, sell low, buy high and stuff like that. In this case, his value is high, get rid of him, and try to get all you can for him where he fits in now that we're in trade season. If not, Kemba, I love you, Bronx boy, but I can't play you like just said at the at the cost of development of giving valuable minutes to Deuce this year.
Yeah,
because I love Deuce, but it still doesn't mean he's the guy. We saw one game, and we know he's going to be great on defense. But is he going to be another IQ where he has point guard skills, but he's not really a point guard? He didn't play that in college. He played a lot of off ball and stuff like that. So he looked great, and I think in today's NBA he can do it. But let's find out for sure by playing him.
Yeah. Just want to give a shout out to East Blue Drew. He's saying, what's the number so we can call in? Still working on getting a number. We won't be able to take calls until next weekend, but I wanted to guys show you that at least we have the technology available. So next weekend, get you guys call together, write down, make flashcards, call us up next weekend, let us know your best thoughts and opinions, and we'll be able to respond and have a conversation. So right now, you guys still can't call in, but the text here, and by next week's show, we should be able to take calls formally. Also, just want to let you guys, this is our last show before Christmas. So I want to give everybody a big Christmas shout out. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you guys for, tuning in, and hope you guys continue to tune in throughout the rest of this year going into next. And Foxy, anything else you want to say about?
No, the same thing. Same thing. A happy holiday and a happy holiday season and a healthy and prosperous 2022. Again, thank you so much, SV Nation. We blew past, like I said, we added over 120 subscribers just this past week. Blew past the 1,000 subscriber milestone. 6,000. Here we come, and very shortly, folks, we're going to be talking about how Keith just blew past the 1 million viewer milestone. So, did you get Yeah, you get Paris Duggar's. Hi, Paris. Hope all is well with you and the family. Did you get his super chat?
I don't think so. Let me get it right now then. All right. Thank you for that, Foxy. Appreciate it. Paris Duggar, $5 super chat. Appreciate it. Set that 9. Ooh, I'm sorry. It took us kind of a long time to get to it. I apologize, bro. He's saying, I disagree about Julius hurting us last year. First of all, it was very enjoyable. Yes, I will agree with you there. 2, we had a great draft anyway. Okay, true. And 3, Tibbs has to control Randall. I mean, you made some solid points there, Duggar, but when you look at the front office and what we were trying to do, I don't think they had Julius Randle in our plans. So when this front office came in, they already had one set of plans, and within 1 year, they already had to, reverse course and now do something else on the fly. So I think that's why you're seeing a team now that just gave $100+ million to Julius Randle, and now you have the 8th overall pick from 2020 stuck behind him. So when you look at it that way, yes, you could, if you look at it the way I just presented it, you can see why it could have hurt us. Also, yes, it was enjoyable, but I don't think we really got the most of our young core. Mitchell Robinson, he was unavailable for a large portion of the season. We traded for Derrick Rose. We never got to see Emmanuel quickly as a point guard, see if that was a position he could flourish in. And RJ had to work, as a sidekick to a Julius Randle. We really never got to see him operate with the ball in his hand, a position where he's much more comfortable, I think, as opposed to him working off ball. So there are a multitude of things that we could have done differently if Julius Randle didn't have his great performance. And I'm not upset he had that performance. I just think if the front office was able to do what they had initially planned, I think it would have been better off for the Knicks long term, as opposed to us now being tied to Julius Randle and being tied to being tied to a brand of basketball that's not really conducive to winning.
You nailed it, man. That was poetry. So, hey, shout out to Kaiser Sote. I hope all is well with you and your family. One of the great guys, incredibly generous always. He agrees and just said, just barely creeping into the playoffs is not success. If anything, that's purgatory. It's better to tank off of your bed. Couldn't agree anymore. And my brother Justin L says, very similar. You're not by yourself, Foxy. We need to think long term and build towards a window for winning through draft and smart contracts. Let these kids learn as we grow. Yo, preach. I love that. So,
yeah, so I guess this
video. Yeah, I guess
this is our lounge section, right? Getting into the chat, Sports Vibes Lounge, chop it up with you guys before we log off. Should be on for another 10-15 minutes. Let's see what you guys have to say. Let us know your thoughts and your comments and questions in the chat, and we'll put them up on screen. This will be the placeholder until we take phone calls next week.
Hi, Craig Mack. Hope all is well. He wants to know how many second round picks are starters in the league. There are a lot of second round guys, starters. A lot of second round guys in rotations. I'll put it like that. But I don't know the actual number of second guys. If actually, statistically, I never looked at it that way.
Let's see.
So
Joey McRae, they saying Randall needs to go. See, the problem is though, we can't just trade Julius Randle because one, we invested a lot of money into him, and now if we do go and try to trade Julius Randle, we're not going to get fair value. We're in a weird spot right now with Julius Randle, and it's easy to say go ahead and trade him, but if we do go and trade him, we're not going to get fair value, and we're not going to be happy with what we get in return. So at this point, it might be better off for the Knicks to keep him, see if he can change his style of play, learn to play within the team, as opposed to taking everybody out of rhythm and going and doing his own thing in ISO ball.
Yeah, and as I think Kaiser said, that yank him. If he's not doing the right thing, this nepotism, and like you said, sticking up for him, Tibbs, if he's not doing the right thing, his energy's off and he's hurting the rest of the guys, he has to have a trigger finger, a quick trigger finger, and pull him out of the damn game. You can't keep perpetuating that situation.
Yeah, Gregory Lee says, I think Tibbs is afraid to approach Randall and ruin his pride or relationship. Something, because he's been enabling him this whole season. Anytime Randall has had an issue, Tibbs has come up with some kind of excuse for him. But meanwhile, you look at players like a Obi, a Grimes, they do one thing, and he's flying down the sideline trying to let them know that they made a mistake. He's screaming. I've never heard him, have yet to hear him scream and yell out Randall's name for doing something wrong. You'll hear him call Obi's name. You'll hear him call Grimes' name.
Yeah, he'll hear him screaming about Obi and stuff, but it's hands off on Randall. And that's not cool. That's not cool to the other players either, because it's a double standard then. So you gotta, it's like a parent. You gotta be the same with everyone. Child, you can't, if you showing favoritism toward one child, you can have some issues in your family. So, hey, got a favor to ask. We have over 200 in the chat right now, and we have 125 likes. So please, I ask you to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, do a hashtag new so we can call you out, but please subscribe. We guarantee you'll love the content. My friend, he works so hard, Keith, on great content, up at all hours of the night putting it out. So please reward him. Want to thank you again for allowing us to blow past that 5,000 subscriber mark last week, and within 1 week we added another 120 subscribers just this past week. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you, and again, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy everything to you guys, and a healthy and prosperous 2022. So let's get those likes up. And again, please share the link on your favorite social media platforms. And again, shout out to the best mods on the planet: Lex the Destroyer, Boost Mobile, Justin L, Citizen X. Where's Big Task, Lano, and where's my Canal?
Oh yeah, Canal.
I know. Canal, yep. I don't want to ever forget you, Canal. So thanks everyone again. Thank you for growing the SV Nation, and we have a lot to go. As you see, we're going to be adding phone calls, and we're going to be adding new things to make it much more entertaining and much more interactive with you.
Facts. We got a first question from Anthony 212. He's saying, if you get a first rounder for Mitch, would you take it?
Hell yeah,
I take it. Especially if we don't think Mitch is going to be in our long-term future. If you think the front office is going to keep Mitch past this season, give him a contract extension, then I might be a little bit hesitant about taking a first rounder, because then you're thinking, all right, they see something in Mitch, and Mitch must have done something this season to give them the reason to extend him. So I would say no if we're going to keep Mitch long term. But if Mitch is going to be gone at the end of this season, then hell yeah, give me that first rounder.
Yeah, and in fact, if you look around the league, the Daniel Gaffords, the Rashawn Holmes, and everything, a lot of those guys that are really valuable were second round picks. The game's changing. Part of Mitch and Noel's game is maybe a little it's older. Their lack of being able to antiquated. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. That we need to up level that, whether it's a stretch three or somebody that has, can guard the perimeter. Get out on those guys, and they're Mitch. I think losing weight, he'll get better, but I think we're going to have the same issues with him. Everybody was happy the other night that Mitch played great in that fourth quarter. But folks, he gave 22 points and 10 rebounds to the legendary Daniel Theis. So he still got lit up. So throw the bag at Mitch. I throw a second team contract at him. Give him maybe $4 or $5 million. If you don't like it, walk. But just when you have shown you can stay healthy, you have absolutely no offensive game. Your foul shooting it was brutal.
He shot an air ball. Oh my God. I saw that. I'm like, wow.
That was like a bullet. So it's like, oh my God. Even with a busted foot and a you can still practice foul shots, man. That hasn't gotten better. His screens haven't gotten better. His IQ hasn't gotten better. There's times on pick and rolls and stuff, he still does things where you just shake your freaking head like you're in the wrong position. Whether it's a Capella or somebody that, what are you doing? So, so I would take a first rounder really quick for Mitch.
So Delano,
Brad Johnson.
Delano still
my
has a
friend
question
from Australia.
Oh, Brad? Yeah, what's up? Salute.
Yeah, my friend Melbourne. Yep, good day. Hope all is well with you. Yep, all is well, and I haven't seen you in some time. But Brad, thank you for joining us. We're on every Sunday at 8 p.m. Where's the place to be? Sports Vibe TV. That's what I say. So good to see you, man.
Delano still has a question. He's saying, if we need to move on from Tom Thibodeau, then who should be the next head coach? I know previously it was Kenny Atkins.
You just touched on it.
I don't think I would change.
Me too. I feel the same way. Bring him on. He has experience and everything.
Where is he now? Whose staff is he on now?
I think he's out West Coast. Yeah, he's out on West Coast team, Western Conference team. So,
yeah, I still think he'd be the great teacher for our guys over there.
Yeah, I always liked Mark Jackson, and in fact, the Bear came in there, but I don't think he still gets the credit what he did for the Golden State team.
Oh, he's with the Warriors now.
I knew he was with he was out on the West Coast. Yeah,
an assistant. He might get a raise.
But not only that, but he's being exposed to Kerr and what they're doing both offensively, and they're also a phenomenal defensive team, Golden State. So they're not a one-dimensional team by no means. So, yeah, I would go that way. And like I said before, I wouldn't go Johnny Bryant, and I wouldn't go Kenny Payne.
Justin L. has a question. He's saying, what makes it worse this year long-term is that we brought in Fournier to RJ's natural position, got Kimba, re-signed Rose and Burks to take from IQ, Grimes, and Deuce. Redundancy all over. Facts. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, Justin L. Yes, but we brought in a guy that has even less athleticism than RJ. One thing is, like we said, bring in somebody, but whoa, this person, like I said, the NBA is about not only getting to your spots on offense, but being so fast that you can stop the person that you're defending getting to their spot. And when you don't, you're heavy legged and stuff like that, you're hurting on you're going to get lit up on both sides of the floor, man.
Citizen X has a question. He's saying, contractually, can we trade Julius Randle? We can't trade him until February 3rd.
February 3rd.
7 days before the deadline?
Correct. February 10th the deadline. So, yeah.
And Child is saying he would have selected Mark Jackson or Kenny Atkinson if we do fire Tom Thibodeau.
Yep. I agree, and I think this COVID is maybe saving Tibbs in some ways, because if we went into a losing streak,
he's got excuses. I mean, if we went into a losing streak, we're in a losing streak right now. Not nothing crazy, but if you look at the stretch of games,
we are. Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. I mean, we had a one-game winning streak. Now we're back to yeah. What did we lose? 4 in a row prior to that?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so
right now we've lost 5 of our last 6. So that's not a great streak to be on either. Ramrock is saying, when will we call up Luca from the G League? I think he's still dealing with a foot issue. If he wasn't,
he's still dealing with a foot issue.
Would have had him on the team now.
Yeah, but it's a great question because, I thought about him last night when we saw Taj, Obi Toppin's laughing at Taj Gibson's 3-point percentage. So I'd love to have Luke up there as a stretch 5 for us, or even a stretch 4. So Taj, he's valuable, but he's another guy. His days come. I don't want Taj, whether it's a Sims or even a Luka, or even a Knox. I feel terrible for Knox. He hasn't gotten the opportunities, and it broke my heart that he got the COVID after having the COVID in the summer league.
Mm-hmm.
And
Knox.
His chance.
They both got it.
Yeah. I know that he's running out of time, but the guy can shoot threes, prototype size, length, everything like that. Play him over Taj. Pardon?
I meant to say quick and Knox. My bad. I misspoke. They both got COVID
got a super chat from the greatest people in the world. My guy, it can't be a broadcast without me saying Derek.
Also, before we get to Derek's super chat, I want to shout out East Blue Drew. He's saying he's new. Love the content. All right, now let's jump over to our guy.
Hey,
Derek.
welcome. Hey, chat, do me a favor. Just send a note. Welcome to the SV Nation in the proper way. Hey, thank you so much for joining, and we guarantee you're going to enjoy it.
So JD sent the $9.99 super chat. Appreciate the support. He's saying JD had a 5-star call based on what he said about Tibbs and Randall, that maybe this is a package deal. If one is gone spells the end for the other. If you had to guess who goes first, fire show. I think Tibbs is out of here before we ship off.
I was about to say, again, I agree with my brother. I think it's going to be Tibbs first.
Mm-hmm. Shoot, Tibbs might be in the hot seat by the end of this season. He may be in the hot seat by the end of the month. Mm. See, that's the thing, though, if we go through the COVID, it's hard to hold his feet to the fire with the COVID.
I know.
It's real hard. I know. So hopefully the guys.
But I will say this,
and we can evaluate him for the remaining portion of the season.
Yeah, February is year number 3 for this front office. The honeymoon's over, folks. My feeling, I'd love to hear what the SV Nation in the chat feels, but I think that they're going to be reactionary, but not proactive. So I don't see them, I don't want them bringing in another Derrick Rose. I don't want, at the mercy of our development that we've talked about all show, I don't want to bring a 30-odd-year-old, 30-plus-year-old guy to come in here. Either you get somebody who's young, that's a year or two away from their prime, but at this point in time, it made no sense to bring in somebody that's on the other side of their prime.
We got somebody wild in the chat. Craig Mack just says, does Frank Vogel scream at LeBron when he messes up? Julius Randle is not LeBron. We can't compare the two. We can't compare how Frank Vogel treats LeBron. LeBron is one of the, if not the best player in the league. Julius Randle, you have to make an argument if he's top 25. Yeah, exactly. Julius Randle, right now, Julius Randle is not playing like a top 25, top 30 player. So you can't compare what Frank Vogel does to LeBron and pin it up against what Tibbs is doing with Julius Randle. Just because Julius Randle is our best player doesn't mean that's good. I wouldn't say you're a solid team if Julius Randle is your best player. So it's a different mindset, I think, when you get the Lakers and the relationship between a Vogel and a LeBron and a Tibbs and a Julius Randle.
Yeah, but if you look at LeBron, he's just like MJ and great players. He's a coach on that floor. If you miss your assignment, you don't have to worry about Vogel. He just did it the other day. I forgot who he did it with, LeBron. He let him know you missed his freaking assignment. So you don't see Randall. Randall may pick on Fournier because it's the only one that I guess he'll pick on and stuff like that. But you can't do the two. Hey, we got my friend Soulfinger 12 in. Soulfinger, San Diego Smooth, as I always call him. Hope all is well with you and your family. His daughter is playing basketball these days. I want to go to San Diego, to Hodad's, and get a burger and a brew with you, man. So hope all is well.
Got Jimmy Henry saying this is his first time on the program or watching the program. Thank you. Appreciate it. We're live every Sunday, 8 p.m. if you want to tune in again. Let's see what else we got going
Hi,
on.
Jimmy.
Okay.
Everybody say hi to Jimmy. Welcome to the family in the SB Nation.
Round of applause for our guy Jimmy. Thank you. And East Blue Drew. Both of you guys are new to the channel. Appreciate it. Eventually, they're gonna be like, "Hey, Marquise, you gotta try to start do something new. You can't keep using the round of applause."
No applause. I think is great. I don't think anybody ever gets tired of applause.
I hear
so
you. Let's see what else. Got any other questions? Let us know your questions. We'll answer them before we wrap up. Let's see. They're saying leave Mitch alone. We're not bothering Mitch. We want Mitch to do something. Stop playing. I believe he could be a monster in the paint. He's just not showing us. And then he's saying he wants to shoot jump shots and things like that. But you look terrible at the free throw line and shooting air balls. How is the coaching staff supposed to have confidence in you? You know, to say, all right, take that step out to the 3-point line and shoot it if you can't even hit the rim on a free throw. I've got siblings that can hit the rim on free throws, and they're a hell of a lot younger than Mitch. And he can hit the rim, and not like, come on, you gotta hit the rim, bro. You're 7'2". It's not hard. Well, no, how tall was 7'1"? How tall is Mitch?
I think he's 7 equal. I think he's 7 flat.
All right, yeah, come on, bro.
Geraldine says Coach of the Year was last year. The honeymoon's over for Tibbs. Yep, just like it was over for Dwayne Casey. So
let's see. Any other questions, Foxy? You see?
Let's see. DeGulis 718 Hall was well in you and family. He said, "Do we trade for Ayton or no?"
Do we say that one more time? Do we trade
Ayton on Phoenix? Do we trade for DeAndre Ayton?
I'm not a big fan of trading for people and then signing them to big deals. That's not something I'm really a big fan of. That's why, because you're gonna have to give up assets in the trade, and now you're gonna have to give up more money and add put a big contract like Ayton's on our cap, and I'm not sure if Ayton's going to be worth that type of money. I think the reason the Suns didn't give him the bag is because they feel like on the open market he's not going to get the same contract that he was trying to command in Phoenix. So I'd be wary about trading for Ayton. I like to trade for smaller pieces, that way you're not giving up too many assets if you're going to have to re-sign them, as opposed to a big deal for DeAndre Ayton.
I agree.
Yeah, like last year, I was cool with us trading for Lonzo, but that was just because it wasn't going to cost us much. It might have cost us a low draft pick. How do we do it? High is what, top 10 or low? It always throws me off.
What?
Like a high draft pick is considered what, top 10?
Is it top?
So a low draft pick then. I'd be fine with shipping a low draft pick and like. Who else did I think about trading for Lonzo? I can't remember the exact deal, but a low draft pick and a player that we really don't have a long-term future with, and that would have brought us in Lonzo, as opposed to going after an Ayton. They're gonna want some real assets over in Phoenix if we do try to go after a DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, no doubt. And SGC said we need to trade Mitch and the French guy. Yeah, that's one thing we've learned over the last few years, folks. Rule number 1, never draft or sign a French player again. Not if they just don't play well in New York City. Send them to
crazy.
Utah.
You would think international players would flourish in New York. You know, it's more. I think it'd be more comfortable than living somewhere else. You know, New York City is a melting pot. You got all kinds of. You can find French food somewhere in the city.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah, I don't know. It takes a certain toughness, you know. And I'm not putting down Australia. In fact, I love Australia, but Ben Simmons grew up in Australia, and his toughness or his issues. He's just not, you play ball in America, you just have a different attitude. And I'm sorry, I'm a homer. No disrespect to anybody that's from outside the country in the chat. It's just a homer. That the way we play ball here in the States is I think, different than anybody plays around the world.
What you call it, sincere saying Randall and Fournier might throw hands. Fournier apparently knows martial arts.
He does. His parents were Olympic. Oh my God, his parents were Olympic champions.
Never knew that.
He studied it. Oh yeah. I said that once. That Fournier, you look at him, but he'll beat anyone's ass on that team with his eyes closed.
What, BJJ?
Yeah. No, judo actually.
Judo. Oh, okay. Copy.
Judoka. Yeah.
He's throwing people like Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. But you can see whether it's those guys, whatever. We saw what happened to Tyron Woodley last night. He did the Nate Robinson right hand, and
that was brutal.
Man, MMA striking is not the same as boxing. They call it the sweet science for a reason, man. It's a whole different game. So you can know jits, you can know karate, you can know all these different disciplines, but an old-fashioned right hand will beat your ass anytime.
Facts. But guys, appreciate all the support. We've got the 156 likes. We got 212 in chat right now. SB Nation holding us down. It's like every Sunday we get a solid 200 in the chat. So I appreciate all that support from you guys. Foxy, I appreciate you joining me every Sunday.
It's an honor.
Especially when things right now have not been going great with the Knicks. You know, the Knicks aren't winning, but we're still hitting 200 in chat solid. And you guys are always bringing great opinions, great analysis in the chat. So I just want to say thank you guys for all that support, and Merry Christmas to those that celebrate.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you know, Sunday is Christmas, hanging out with you, Keith, and hanging out with the SV Nation. I have Christmas every week, and I feel very, very blessed.
I hear you on that one. So, you know, in honor of the Christmas spirit, we are going to be closing the show with our guy, Jay Boogie. We back for Christmas. Both, he's featured on it with Cully. Well, he's not featured. Cully and Left are featured.
Papa Left, yep,
Papa Left
are featured.
Are featured. So, guys, I'm going to play it now. Thank you for all your support. Song is Some Heat. They got a little chant in the beat. That to me is fire. So make sure you guys are chanting along and rocking to the beat. Once again, I'm Keith, joined as always by our NBA analyst, Stephen Fox. And this is Sports Vibes TV, your destination on YouTube for Knicks news, rumors, and analysis. We're going to close the show once again with our guy, Jay Boogie. Peace.
Love you, SV.
It's a jolly time of the year, right before the new year. Ain't no other squad better on this day than the Knicks. We back. Best time of the year, they say it's Christmas. Little kids can't wait to see it's Christmas. New clothes, new toys, mean it's Christmas. You see the Knicks, we back, we on Christmas. It's so pretty when you can see the snowfall. Their red nose, tell them that it's Rudolph. Chestnuts roasting, the Knicks stay roasting. Tell the whole league we hosting. 12 noon, we back 12 in the 2/5. Biggest tree in the world filled with presents. Little kids, they checking off their wish list. Ho ho ho, we celebrating this Christmas. Jingle bell, first game playing in the garden. Tell Santa we got the whole league watching. Right before we celebrate the new year. James Dolan crossing with the reindeers. Parking decks, they filled with no room garage. When it comes to the flow, this here's eggnog. Best believe your boy, yeah, I'm on my job. Celebrate your Christmas with the Knicks squad. The best place in the world, that backstage shopping. I AD my wrist so you can keep watching. Shopping sprees all over, this is Times Square. Then it's back to the game at Madison Square. Best time of the year, they say it's Christmas. Little kids can't wait to see it's Christmas. New clothes, new toys, mean it's Christmas. You see the Knicks, we back, we on Christmas. It's so pretty when you can see the snowfall. Their red nose, tell them that it's Rudolph. Chestnuts roasting, the Knicks stay roasting. Tell the whole league we hosting.
Back on Christmas, Jay Boogie predicted it. You can't say St. Nicholas without nicking it. The Knicks on Christmas should be ubiquitous. So shout out if you've been with us, sitting through the interim. Feels like we meant to win. Now that we got tips with us, potential is limitless. Gifts go down the chimney. Try to put the Grinch on me, pinch me, but I'm not dreaming. It's a new reality. New York is in the top seat in seasons. Greetings, Eastern Conference. Defense, the Gardens rocking. Best fans in the game. We don't do the home away split. Catch me at the Staples, baby. I make the sleigh live. 8 gifts, pulling up in the Cambridgers. About to lace the garden with a pack of Frankincense and Murray. Can't resist the urge. Knicks set new squad. Time to burn the competition sitting by the U-Law.
Best time of the year, they say it's Christmas. Little kids can't wait to see it's Christmas. New clothes, new toys, mean it's Christmas. You see the Knicks, we back, we on Christmas. It's so pretty when you can see the snowfall. Their red nose, tell them that it's Rudolph. Chestnuts roasting, the Knicks stay roasting. Tell the whole league we hosting.
Something wrong with your TV screen. If that orange and blue ain't playing on that red and that green. Favorite players, yeah, but Knicks, they forever the team. Shout out the upstairs, trying to play chess with the team going forward. They're making sure the squad is in order. They know we hated on by all opposing reporters. It's torture. New Yorkers, we built for fourth quarters. Show up to the court or prepare for a slaughter. They wanna hate on the Knicks, tell me what that's doing. Get that stuff out of here, shout out to Pat Ewing. 12 noon jump ball, just know we enemies. We tryna bring home the gold back from the 70s. Oh yeah, we back on Christmas, oh no, can it be? Only us Knicks fans know the whole New York energy. If you ain't know what type of tension this is, Knicks Nation, we'll see y'all on Christmas.
Best time of the year, they say it's Christmas. Little kids can't wait to see it's Christmas. New clothes, new toys, mean it's Christmas. You see the Knicks, we back, we on Christmas. It's so pretty when you can see the snowfall. Their red nose, tell them that it's Rudolph. Chestnuts roasting, the Knicks stay roasting. Tell the whole league we hosting.